Hello everyone, Ian here again, and I've got two drones again, the Mavic Pro and the new Mavic Air. They've got the Mavic Pro and the new Mavic Air. They've got a lot of similarities and a lot of differences, and some are not so obvious. So whether or not you're looking to choose your first drone or whether or not to upgrade, have a watch, see what the differences are and see which one is right for you. So first up, price is one of the easier comparisons. New Mavic Air is retailing around £760 or $799 I believe, and that makes it around £200, $200 cheaper than the Mavic Pro. Size is another major difference. The Mavic Air is around a third lighter and a third smaller than the Mavic Pro. Don't get me wrong though, the Mavic Pro is still a good deal smaller than any of the Phantoms, and both of them are pretty easy to carry around in your backpack. One of the biggest improvements I think on the Air is the gimbal. The Mavic did always suffer from a very delicate gimbal that was very easy to damage. The new cover on the new gimbal guard on the Mavic Air is pretty inspired, I think. It clips and slides off so easily, and once in flight you can see that the gimbal is far better protected by the body of the Air when compared to the exposed gimbal that the Mavic Pro had. So of course, whilst we're talking about the gimbals, the other crucial thing I think is the camera itself. Now, the cameras are actually very similar. They're the same 12 megapixel sensor, they're the same size sensor. The Mavic Air has got a slightly smaller aperture. It's a 2.8 as opposed to the 2.2 for the Mavic Pro. What that means is that with the Mavic Air there's no need to tap to focus. There is no tap to focus. It means that every picture and a bit of video that you take is going to be bang on in focus. The other difference with the camera is the bit rate. That's literally the amount of information that is stored by the camera. The Mavic Pro could handle 60 megabytes per second. The new Mavic Air has 100 megabytes per second. That's a fairly subtle difference, but it does mean that you're going to get a better quality of video footage. The resolution is the same, as I said, but the frame rates are slightly different. Both of them shoot at 4K 30 frames per second, but the Mavic Air maintains a higher frame rate, or allows you to have a higher frame rate when you actually reduce the resolution. Another simple difference are the remotes. The remotes are very similar in size. The big improvement, of course, is the removable sticks on the Mavic Air. They hide underneath, very easily screw in, and they make travelling a lot easier because there was no way, in fact you sometimes had to put a little clamp on top to stop the sticks being damaged in transit. So whilst the removable sticks are an improvement, it has to be said that I think the lack of LCD display on the Mavic Air's remote is a little bit of a shame. With the Mavic Pro, you could actually fly it quite confidently without a smartphone attached. The LCD gave you all the information you needed to know everything about what was happening with the drone. The battery life, the altitude, the distance from yourself, the GPS signal, the remote signal between the remote and the bird itself. You don't have any of that with the Mavic Air remote, which I think is a real shame. Both of these obviously take micro SD cards. The Air has got a nice little extra. It's got some internal storage as well. It's got 8 gigabytes of internal storage, and that can be formatted whilst you're out flying just with your remote control and the smartphone. You just have a little setting to format the SD card or to format the internal memory. That's really useful, obviously, in case you forget your SD card when you go out for the day. You'll be able to get about 10 minutes of 4K footage if you're recording at 100 megabytes per second. You'll also be able to get an awful lot of snaps as well, a lot of photos. So it's a really good fail-safe, and it's good to have that in reserve. One criticism I've got is that the micro SD card is far fiddlier to fit. It's embedded in a slot in between the protruding body there and the actual the flap there. So if you've got fat fingers like me, there is no way of getting it out. You absolutely need tweezers, which I think is a bit of a shame. However, at the same time, you now have USB-C. So you can actually plug in a USB-C cable and transfer it to your laptop or your PC or your Mac. And obviously USB-C is far faster at transferring video and pictures. So the actual need to remove your SD card is pretty much removed. So the Mavic Air does have some nice new intelligent flight modes. They're probably more fun than useful, but things like the boomerang and the asteroid are going to produce some really good fun effects for you. Different sizes and different size batteries mean a different flight time. With the Mavic Pro, you could fly for a good 26-27 minutes if you wanted to push your battery's luck. With the Mavic Air, you're only going to get 21 minutes max. So in practice, day to day, you're only going to get about 18-19 minutes if you want to leave a little margin on your battery. Other big difference is the way the signals are transmitted between the remotes and the drone itself. Mavic Pro uses something called OcuSync, and it gave it an absolutely fantastic range. You could literally get up to 7 kilometers or around 4 miles. And what that meant for day-to-day flights is that you had a rock solid signal and very good video streaming. Mavic Air does not use that. It uses enhanced Wi-Fi. I've already done a range test. It's still going to be more than good enough for most people's needs. And the specs state that you can go up to around 2,000 meters with the CE or European limitations on the remote's transmitter, or up to 4 kilometers or 2.5 miles everywhere else. So either way, you're going to get good range on both of these, but the Mavic Pro does have a far greater range. And finally, you have got a difference in sensors. Both of them have got forward vision and downward sensors, but the Mavic Air also has rear anti-collision sensors. That is useful if you're used to doing reverse pan shots, and there's no doubt that's a very good extra addition to the Mavic Air. So there we go. I've actually tried to keep it as short as I could, but there are quite a few differences to go through, and as I said, some of them aren't quite as obvious as you might think. If I was pushed to make a recommendation, well, if you're starting out with your first drone, I'd have to recommend the Mavic Air. It's got some fantastic features. It will give you all the video and photos that you want in absolute perfect quality. It's got the range, the maneuverability and the signal strength, and all of the functionality you'll need to be more than happy with it for many years. If you're an existing Mavic Pro owner, then I would actually struggle to justify the expense of buying something that's got some improvements camera-wise, but has got some slight disadvantages with regards to the range and the flight time. As ever, I pump these videos out every couple of weeks. If you like them, tick the little subscribe and the bell to get notified, and as ever, have fun and happy flying, guys.